I want to direct you to a post in the description that I posted in my blog. And the title is Dark Horse Nebulae equals a G2Cloud SuperWave Cardinal Grand Cross that's coming in April 2014. We're going to talk about the Galactic Center and tie this in with what I would consider the evolutionary leap that we are in the throes of. So, how did you like my last podcast where I was sharing with you how consciousness equals artificial intelligence? What did that bring up for you? Consciousness. That we are actually being conned. That's why you have to ask yourself, why would con be at the beginning of consciousness? Because you're being conned. Consciousness equals the artificial intelligence. These intellectual systems that are designed to keep you in doubt and confusion, believing in lies. This system is built on lies. This physical world system is built on a lie. That you are simply captured as awareness. And you are being used as a fuel source in order to keep this system afloat. This is Karis Alexander with Deep Truth Media. I want to welcome all the new subscribers. So yeah, you are being conned. Consciousness. So if you can wrap your head around that one, and come to know the truth that as awareness you are all knowing and wise. You've been captured into this system of consciousness. Kind of makes you wonder why there's always so much debate around this area of consciousness from these intellectuals. There's many debates going on online and offline around consciousness, and these intellectuals get together and they discuss consciousness from these varied viewpoints, all giving a different perception and yet united in the outcome that they really don't know what they're talking about. But what they're really talking about is all these intellectual systems. They're a bunch of intellects trying to figure out consciousness, this idea of consciousness, this concept of consciousness. It's simply a con. You've been conned into this whole layer of consciousness, and that you can reach certain levels of consciousness and transcend and become enlightened. Enlightenment is a lie. It's a deception. Light itself is a deception. It's what's lured you into this this consciousness. It's fascinating. It's just like a mind trip. It's a mind fuck is what it is. If you can get it at that level. You have to learn to come to know self as awareness in order to transcend this nonsense of a system. You're living in a lie. There's nothing about this system that is designed for you to wake up out of it. Because when you wake up, you're just waking up into another dream. It's a dream. You're living someone else's dream, someone else's narrative, someone else's script. And once you wake up to that, all you are doing is waking up to another dream. You're shifting your perception, but it's still a dream. And people talk about dimensions and, oh my God, it's just a shift in perception. All you're doing is shifting your perception. Oh, and we're all one. We all come from the same source, but we are all unique. If we were all one, we'd all look the same. Why is it that we all look so different? Because we are each unique in our own right in this physical realm. And so we must express and share our uniqueness and not deny or be jealous of one another if we so choose to do so. truly is a glorious time to be alive. It's truly a glorious time to be here from the perspective as awareness, free from the confines of this sick system. You know who's running this system. They all should be institutionalized. They're psychopaths. The people running this planet are mentally insane. Do you think that mentally insane people should be running this planet? They all need to be institutionalized. They're a bunch of thugs, dressed in nice suits. Thugs. They're like the mafia. They are the mafia. They're sick. Sick people are running this world, and they're destroying it by design. It was built, this physical world system was built for the purposes of being destroyed. And so that's the perspective in which I share from. All they're doing is taking what you have been conditioned to go out into movies and see the movies in a movie theater. It's just that they're bringing the movie theater into the physical world stage. And they have their actors that they hire, all these politicians and these stars and all the people in high places, the kings and queens. They're all the actors, the characters, and they all have a part to play. And you and I are the extras. And these cities that we live in are props. And they are in the midst of doing a nice demolition of the system because it's a finite system. They know that. It's not going to last, although they are deluded on some level thinking that they can keep it up, keep this going at this level. But their Achilles heel is us. They don't know how we are going to respond to this new energy, this superwave that I'm going to talk to you about. This G2Cloud. Now they call that a G2Cloud. And then it'll morph into something else. It's all lies. But there is something that they are hiding from us. And I believe that this is this new energy, this real energy that I keep talking about. That's waking us up to come to know self as awareness. So I share a perspective which may change and grow over time, which probably will. Because the information is coming in so vast and fast. The information is coming in vast and fast. That's the consciousness. And I have to sift through the consciousness as awareness and discern what's valid and what's not. I have to use my thought process and the mind that I know is not mine. And I have to use this brain-body construct that is nothing to do with who and what I am as awareness. It's just vehicles. It's just a vehicle that I'm using to have this experience. And I'm not allowing this physical world, these universal architects, to run my show. I'm running it now. I'm dismantling this program off of me. The energies have been astounding. Although this week, for me, it's tapered off considerably, but what I gathered in a nutshell, with a deep sense of dignity and respect for myself as awareness. That, in a nutshell, was what blossomed through me, what I awakened to during this last planetary alignment, of which NASA came out and said that on the 25th of February, give or take a day or two, we're not getting the actual information that we should be getting. They're scrutinizing that information in terms of the solar activity. I don't believe for a minute, and I haven't for about a year and a half, and that's why I really didn't share in the level of planetary alignments, because I didn't feel the information was valid, that we were getting the right information. But I trust I trust some of these planetary alignments, and I just go inward and I figure out, based on the energies, what is transpiring for me. So I'm very attuned to these planetary alignments, and I have been since 2010 or 11, I believe. You know, I've been living through the heart construct since 2009. I started feeling these energies, that is, that I transcended the ego construct, and not fully or completely, but I made a big leap there. And I've been living in the heart, through the heart, knowing self as awareness for the past 2 years, steady, but 5 years when I transcended into the heart. And I live, so my perception is shifted, and it shifts every couple of days. I live my life in constant focus, navel gazing, and contemplating the situation in which we find ourselves in. So I write and I share simply so I can ground myself in these energies. Because if I didn't, I'd go insane. Too much information, too much gnosis, too much information that I have to sift through in order to find how I'm being conned. As awareness, because my awareness, as awareness, I've just shifted my perception. I have to sift through all this information that's coming in to discern what is going on. So what I get to see here is this sharing is, I sort of come in through the back door on this one. So the Dark Horse Nebula equals a G2Cloud, SuperWave, Cardinal Grand Cross. I want to talk about that. That's coming in April 2014, and the Galactic Center. So following on the connection with the Dark Horse theme, and you can read this at your leisure. You know, I encourage you to read these blogs so you get a deeper understanding. So following our connection with the Dark Horse theme and the Dark Horse Nebula in the middle of the Milky Way galaxy that I shared in my previous posts, here is what I have found out in connection with this real energy, the supernovas, the cosmic rays. It's all the same energy, just different wavelengths. Okay? And then it says, so let us not forget the horse theme keeps rising again and again, and it showed up at the Sochi Olympics with the horses carrying along the sun disk, pulling the sun. So here's a much deeper and more significant connection, which I found that I'll be following. It turns out that in 2011, a compact gas cloud, which is called G2, was discovered with roughly 3 Earth masses, that is falling on a near radial orbit toward the massive black hole in the galactic center. The orbit is well constrained, and the pericenter passage is predicted for early 2014. Well, that was a giveaway for me with the Cardinal cross. So they're telling us something, but this is all by design. Now, recent observations of the G2Cloud made in the near infrared at the Keck Observatory indicate that the G2Cloud will reach its closest approach to galactic center around mid-March of 2014. That's this month, instead of June of 2013. So they had predicted it was going to be last year sometime in June, which was originally predicted. Apparently, the date of the G2Cloud's closest encounter with the galactic core at somewhere between the end of January 2014 and the beginning of May 2014. So this tells you right here that they have no idea, or they're just trying to confuse us, and it's just part of more propaganda. So I honestly don't think the Power Control Force know when this event will happen, and if they do, they certainly would not say anything to us. Anyway, based on what I have been following, this may all coincide with the total lunar eclipse on April the 15th, which will begin the famous lunar tetrad series I have been mentioning of 2014-15. But again, the lunar tetrad series is, this is all a stage. These are all events. These are all narratives that are playing out. scenarios, narratives that are playing out, story scripts, yes. So, and these lunar tetrads have a deep significance in the Jewish prophecy, Jewish Passover feast, which begins on that day and ends 1 week later. So it's all coinciding 1 week later on April 21st. So this could signify the opening of the inner window of opportunity, which will open from April 15th to April 29th. Tremendous amount of energy, planetary alignments and configurations happening in the month of April. It's so profound. Remember I said that this is one of the biggest years astrologically. And astrologically, the power control force design all these astrological maps and configurations. I mean, they control everything. So remember that. So this is all coinciding with this Cardinal Grand Cross configuration on April 21st, which is when Uranus-Pluto square becomes exact with Jupiter, and then it makes an exact square with Mars. And at the exact degree, or Grand Cross, all the planets will be at 13.5 degrees of the cardinal signs. Well, the 13 was a giveaway for me. And when I see 13s and 11s in these astrological alignments or planetary alignments, I know that the power control force, this is part of their agenda to circumvent the programming within the solar system. So the solar system has its own organic process that it goes through, and they're just mirroring that. And then this is how they keep their system. They're stimulating this organic process that's occurring in the solar system. But again, that organic process is part of the design of this whole system. The universal architects create both sides, the good and the bad. So, and the power control force, those that presume to run this world, just do the, they create the structure, and they're the machine that keeps this physical world running and operating the way that they want it to run. When I talk about power control force, it's just the male force energy, the proton energy. The proton energy really has no creative potential, but they use our energy because we have more of the female energy. They use the electron energy. We have more of that energy. So they use us as fuel, and they use people who have real great potential or genius. They use all the geniuses that they can find on the physical world plane, and they capture them into their secret societies. They use all this brain power or consciousness or intelligence to develop all the technology, all the new sciences, everything that's new, that comes out of the electron. The electron is the fuel, the creative force in the universe. So what happens in the universe happens here. I'll actually have to speak more on that so you get a bigger idea of where I'm coming from. But it's all about energy. Life is a process of energy. And as awareness, you exist beyond any concept of energy. But you've been captured into this energetic system, and you are used as a fuel source. And so all the planets, again, will be at the 13.5 degrees of the cardinal signs. Now, April 20th, 2014, when this configuration of these 4 planets is at the beginning of its most intense phase, as the moon in Capricorn and will be triggering the whole thing. And then it's on the 22nd when Mars moves into its exact position and squares the already existing exact T-square. So you have some information here that you can fall back on in the next couple of months and see how things transpire on the physical world stage. So this is said to by some to be probably a period when we move into the most volatile, so that we're moving into a new phase, volatile and intense time of the last few years. We can expect acts of terrorism, natural disasters, earthquakes, extreme weather, and either way, an escalation of some military conflict. These planets are all in cardinal signs, which are action signs. Therefore, things happen in action signs according to, again, a planned agenda. So we'll have to see what transpires on the physical world stage after April. Now, while some of you might say that this is quite stunning, and it is, all by design though, how these 4 planets come together so precisely, yeah, right. But it's not. The universal architects, the power control force, made this happen. What makes these energies all come together and release at exactly the same time is all designed to harvest the energies of these planetary configurations for their own agenda in order to keep the system alive, thriving as best they can. It's a finite system, though. You have to remember that. I also found out, it turns out, that a harmony portal at the Table Mount in Israel is to open during this configuration. It was another giveaway for me. So these energies that were being gathered, so that was a red flag for me when I heard that. This harmony portal is to open on March the 20th, 2014, the equinox, along with the April solar eclipse peak, with a potency in June solstice coded, and is coded energy to plant seeds of supposedly world peace. No, I hardly think so. This is all designed to harvest planetary energy for demonic means to keep this planet, so they will be doing rituals around this time to keep this planet in the lowest vibration possible. The giveaway for me was this harmony portal. It is a Christo-umbilical, it's expansive vortex portal at Table Mount, Israel, which just brings us back full circle. This harmony portal brings us back full circle to the Star of David. And I talk about the Star of David theme, or rather Israel and Palestine conflict to come, which I have written about and spoken about in the past. Again, more smoke and mirrors. The Star of David, which is the hydrogen atom. Right? So, and Jerusalem is right next near the star Sirius. And you know that the power control force have something going with Sirius. I've talked about that in the past. Now, this inner time window will actually be a portal. Within a portal. And will be a time of extreme energetic intensity. That's what we need to focus on. Extreme energetic intensity. That can potentially trigger drastic changes on the surface of this planet. So the power control force, this is the key. This is what they know is happening. It will trigger drastic changes on the surface of this planet, and they want to, and beyond, and they want to capitalize on that energetic intensity. Now, complexity wave analysis shows that this time frame could be the most complex period in the known history, greatly surpassing the famous December 21st, 2012. And we know what happened there. Then, nothing. But one of the things that I really feel that this is very significant is that it's not in the news. These configurations are there. They're not really talked about. So then there's no hype around it, really. So that gives me an indication that there is some significance. Unlike December 21st, 2012. This also could mean that all the chaos that the power control force are initiating on Earth is playing into this event, this G2Cloud, that's to come in some future timeline. And which again is a play on some future timeline, or they may have no idea when this G2 Cloud is actually going to happen, but they're just trying to play into that. Who knows? I would think that they would have some idea. I mean, these guys can probably time travel, or they have people that can travel into the future. So we could, in fact, be in the early stages of it happening. And I think that that's what's happening right now with all the weather changes. Even though the Power Control Force do have technology to tamper with our weather, I don't believe that some of the weather that we're having right now, this extreme temperatures, I think this is naturally happening, occurring because of where we are moving into, closer to this galactic center. Or this superwave is actually in its initial stages of transport. I don't know. It's crazy. It's a mind fuck is what it is. Anyway, with all the interesting planetary and individual and psychological changes happening, we could be moving into this intense, and I believe that we are, intense period of instability. But really, when and if this happens, it will be the most volatile, unpredictable time with the greatest potential ever. So I truly believe, and as I say that, it's like that's what's resonating with me. I notice I'm shifting and changing so quickly. And for me, I'm just having a wonderful experience. And I know that's not the case for everyone. I know that we're all having different experiences as we tune into these energies in our own unfoldment. And that's why I really encourage you to engage this process that we're in terms of being able to track our own metamorphoses, and being able to engage it. I mean, it's easy for me because I've been doing it for quite some time now, and it may be challenging for you because it causes you to be more introspective about and tuning into the energies and taking responsibility to how these energies are affecting you, whether negatively or positively. It'll fluctuate for you. It's a very intimate engagement is what I'm asking you to partake in this experiment of tracking our own metamorphosis through these planetary alignments. Tracking your own unfoldment into the greater gnosis of that which you are as awareness. I'm asking you to engage in that process with me, and I know, again, that can be challenging. But it's the work. It's a great work. Truly is. So let's keep a watch on the news for the front on the information on this G2 Cloud, and just a bit more information about this cloud for you. It is estimated that this G2 Cloud will orbit will take the cloud twice as close to the galactic center than previously thought. Again, more propaganda. It's just like they're just, saying a bunch of stuff here. The distance, we're never going to know the exact truth. The distance of closest approach is now predicted to be 130 astronomical units rather than 266 AU astronomical units as previously thought. Okay, so here's a link to the video on the G2 Cloud referencing it's coming in 2013, which never happened. That's why I'm a little suspicious about it coming in 2014. I just think that's they know that this G2 Cloud is coming at some point in the future, but they're trying to create some type of ritual around it and try to steer things in their own direction, the Power Control Force. Yeah, they really don't have any real timeline for this, but in terms of when it will happen, it's just part of the narratives and scripts to align with the events. This event, we witnessed that during the Sochi Olympics with his dark horse connection. So I think that there's a huge connection here, and so there's a link to that video. I also have a little bit of information here on this Sagittarius A, which I thought was good. Sagittarius A, because that's where this in the part of the galaxy where this G2 Cloud is supposed to reside. And just a little background on this is a bright and very compact astronomical radio source at the center of the Milky Way galaxy, near the border of the constellations Sagittarius and Scorpius. It's part of a larger astronomical feature known as Sagittarius A. Well, that would be Ophiuchus too. Sagittarius A is believed to be a location of a supermassive black hole, like those that are now generally accepted to be the centers of most spiral and elliptical galaxies. Observations of the star S2 in orbit around Sagittarius A have been used to show the presence of and produce data about the Milky Way's central supermassive black hole, and have led to conclusions that Sagittarius A is a site of that black hole. So what does this mean? Just taking the dark horse theme to a whole other level, which most won't see. Most will not see this. The level in which the power control force are using the dark horse theme is the level in which I've been explaining, with Philip Seymour Hoffman dying, Katy Perry's video, The Dark Horse theme, where there was just whole lot of Illuminati symbolism, really targeted towards the youth, people within her inner circle, or youth within her inner circle, and it's just programming, conditioning the youth into exposing them to the Illuminati, which is a concept that was designed to probably introduce the world to a part of who and what they are, the secret society, these people behind the veil. But I believe it's actually a way in which they are programming and conditioning the youth into their occult society. And they're able to do that through these stars by introducing this symbolism. And it's programming them to become familiar with this symbolism. It's programming them to comply to this new religion that they're introducing. And it's quite brilliant on their part. And so the dark horse theme is a surface theme, but I feel that this is in terms of introducing it through Illuminati symbolism and occult symbolism. But it still obscures the truth from the youth, but they are being initiated into a cult system without them even knowing it. And it's becoming the new religion. So that's more interesting to see it from, that's interesting to see it from that perspective. But this is just a higher level sharing, a higher level perspective from someone who has a different perception. So I thank you so much for tuning in. Stay abreast of the energies. We have this alignment now with, that I talked about in our last podcast, March 2nd to the 4th. And let's see what transpires for you. Take care. All the best. Bye.